It's the talk of San Diego.
Hi, this is Annjanae Gonzales with the Talk of San Diego, and we are here at the Safari Zoo, where they will be celebrating their 40th anniversary today and also announcing the new exhibit that will be opening up in a couple of years. Everyone knows who Joan Embery is, and she will be here as well, so come on, we're gonna go have some fun. Okay, so can you tell me what type of tortoise this is?
This is Sita. He is a leopard tortoise. Sita means sixth in Swahili, which he was the sixth one hatched out of his litter here. And he's got a few brothers and sisters here at the park who come out and do presentations as well as him. He's a good guy though. He's a fun little guy. He's very active today. That's why he's trying to get out of my hands right now.
How long has this specific one been here?
He's been here. He was actually hatched down at the San Diego Zoo, and he's got my finger. He's been hatched 7 years ago now, I guess. So yeah, he's 7 years old. Interesting.
Does it have a mate?
He does not have a mate. He is not involved in a breeding program here. Our breeding programs are managed a lot by our curators, and then sometimes with certain species through the SSP, or Species Survival Plan. Okay. So he is not involved in a breeding program though.
Okay. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And I'm Annjanae Gonzales with the Talk of San Diego. We are taking a break and we will be right back.
Downloading the podcast of this program will not infect your computer with a virus. However, your listening taste will certainly come into question.
In all the shows that we did out here. And of course, Carol can't be here today, but we have one of the closest relatives to the elephant. It's kind of hard to believe when you look at it. This little creature is called the hyrax. There are tree hyraxes and rock hyraxes. They're from Africa, and their foot structure is very much like an elephant. So the toes on this hyrax look like an elephant's toes, and the bottom of its feet have a rubbery surface that help it to adhere to the rocks. And that looks like an elephant, and they actually have small tusks like an elephant. And prehistorically, the hyrax was the size of a small horse. They were much more sizable than this. They actually have a kind of a low metabolic rate and a low body temperature for a mammal. And when I was out on the Mar, I was staying at the Mars Arena up on the hill, there were rock hyrax were all around the lodge. And it was really funny because when everybody went out in dark 30 on safari, and the sun began to rise, the hyraxes would take over all the lounges around the pool. So in every lounge was a hyrax stretched out. But when the people came back, they would shoot off the lounges. And what was even funnier is that every person then inhabited a lounge around the pool, and under each person was a hyrax taking the shade stretched out underneath them. They're considered to be very intelligent for their small size, and they're in an order completely of their own, and the only other animal I know of that has its own order is the aardvark. For very unique animals to have their very own order. We're going to put the hyrax over here on its little pedestal, and you can see how agile they are. All right. Today we're celebrating two very special 40th anniversaries. The first one is obvious. Over the last 4 decades, the Safari Park has hosted more than 53 million guest and member visits and inspired countless opportunities for people to fall in love with wildlife. The dream for this park actually began in 1959 when Dr. Charles Schroeder, the zoo's executive director, started to lobby city officials. He lobbied zoo supporters, he lobbied celebrities, he lobbied newsmen, anybody who would listen about his grand vision for this very special place. His vision had 3 components. First, it would be a breeding ground to populate the world's zoos without depopulating the wild. Zoos were kind of evolving at that point as we were beginning to recognize that the wild as we have known it was changing, and many of the populations which supplied zoos for many, many years were were greatly depleted and in serious trouble. So the focus was moving more towards conservation. And Charlie was really far-sighted in thinking ahead on this and what we could do to be a major player. Second, it had to be a new kind of zoo where animals live in large spaces and feel more freedom than any zoo in existence. And third, it must be considered what he considered a conservation ground where people in this place at this time do all they can to save species from extinction. Now, 40 years after its opening, the park strives to fulfill his vision and has played a critical role in bringing many species back from the very brink of extinction. Our notable accomplishments include the Southern California white rhino, the African cheetah, and the California condor. In recognition of the important contributions of the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, we received proclamations from the City of San Diego, the County Board of Supervisors, and the California State Senate. And I believe Stephen Bradley is here representing the county, and he has brought his proclamation, and we're going to put it up on display, and we appreciate that. So we have all of our county supervisors, and we really appreciate your recognition of the efforts here at the park. Sure. And you can put it right there for everybody to take a look at later. With me on stage is an endangered species, shortly to be on stage. And when we talk about endangered species, there are many reasons for their decline. But this is an Indian python. And the reason for its decline is, as you can see, its beautiful skin has contributed to demands in the fashion trade for belts and shoes and purses, and so their populations have steadily declined. Captive breeding not only stabilizes populations captively, it cuts the demands for importing these animals, and also in some cases helps us to repopulate animals back into wild populations where that's possible. So it's unfortunate that the numbers continue to climb, but we have had some major movement to support our endangered animals, and the most important being the National Endangered Species Act. It was 40 years ago that President Nixon called for legislation to create the act in 1972 in a message to Congress, and the work started in earnest after this address. Since it became law, many organizations, including our own, expanded their work on behalf of wildlife. All of us can imagine saving species from extinction requires many, many people and partner organizations working together to achieve a common dream. Today, the Safari Park has dozens of partners working around the globe to address species survival. Well, no birthday is complete without a cake, and we actually have one, and we have one for a very special endangered species that we're going to bring up on stage. So we're going to unveil our cake and share with you Majani. Majani was born here at the Wild Animal Park. The African cheetah is an endangered species. Majani was number 124 of 135 cheetahs born here at the Safari Park. I don't know if you can hear. Well, I'm going to put my mic up. I say a few words. That's a purr, that's not a growl. That's a happy cat. And we're going to see if Majani, after looking at all of you, this is a sighted cat. They are one of the few cats that hunts in broad daylight, reaching speeds from 0 to up to 65 miles per hour in about 4 seconds. That's faster than a Dodge Viper, by the way. And so when they come out, the first thing they want to do, it's like a periscope, because they want to identify, you know, their surroundings. You could be a herd of antelope on the plains. And usually this animal, he knows there's 2 new cheetahs behind him, is going to be aware of everything around. And we're going to see if he'll have a lick of his. This is special for him. So you won't be having a piece of this because there's meat inside of it. Cat meat. Right. And very artfully done in-house by our own crew here. He likes it. You know why? We were so worried about it being warm today that we waited till the last minute to put this out. And if you put your finger on it, it is really, really cold. I mean, ice cold. Have you ever put your tongue on an ice cube that just came out of the freezer? So when it gets a little wetter. Here, Johnny, come here. Has blood. Here you go. He says, I'm rather enjoying looking at the sights. So estimates are about 10,000 cheetah. The largest population of cheetahs today are found in Namibia, which actually is the home base for the Cheetah Conservation Fund. There you go. And as was talked about earlier with cheetahs, the problem with cheetahs is that they are considered a pest by farmers, so they are shot. So part of the process is not just learning about the cheetahs and how to protect them as individuals in the landscape, but learning how to deal with the social issues and how to bring farmers on board. Luckily, in Namibia and expanding to other areas, by giving them, for instance, Anatolian shepherds to protect their stock, by training them the value of having cheetahs in your community, affecting your economy, bringing in a tourism market, ecotourism, and learning how to live with wildlife has allowed that population to stabilize somewhat. And once you get a few players on board, generally those people can help you, and the program becomes more landscape oriented. So they've been very successful in Namibia at bringing the farmers on board as part of the conservation effort, and learning how that maybe you take an occasional loss, but you don't need to eliminate one of your most magnificent resources in that country. Johnny, this cake was just for you, and I know everybody wants a picture of you just having one nice lip. Try it one more time. That's brave, isn't it? That tail, that long tail, is used like a rudder, and when they have to turn quickly, the antelope realize they can't outrun them, almost, but not quite. So as the cheetah's gaining, the antelope try to outmaneuver the cat, and they use their tail to help them to turn. And you'll notice the distinctive teardrop markings on the cat and the heavy brow ridge that works like a visor, like you wear a visor. Because hunting in the bright sun, it helps to shade their eyes. And again, we're very happy to be up here in front of everybody. Maybe we should try the human cupcake. we actually do have food for you that's species appropriate, and when we finish today, you will be able to take part in that. Come on. Yeah, well, there's a little meat up here too. There you go. Here you go, Johnny. Here. Okay. Yeah, there's two blondes up here. Come on. Yeah, he's like, we're gonna go get the other cheetahs. Beautiful, beautiful cats. Just magnificent to see in the wild. And I remember seeing a female in the Serengeti, and she had 5 cubs, and you literally could put your fingers around her abdomen. She was so tucked up and tight. She's gonna have to tuck those cubs away in the bush and go out and hunt. And when we see the animals here and they're so well cared for, and you look at the struggles when they're in a wild environment, when there are droughts and when there are predators looking for their cubs while they're out trying to just keep themselves alive and be able to come back and nurse their young. And then if you can imagine taking your cubs out and trying to learn how to hunt with 2 cubs running around behind you, interfering with your very stealthy hunting tactics. A large percentage of animals born in a wild environment never really make it to maturity, and that's what keeps the species so strong, is only the strongest with the greatest survival instincts are able to thrive. So we're pretty excited about cheetahs here because We were the first park to breed them in captivity, and that was a result of looking across the board with our multidisciplined research effort. You look at behavior, you look at genetics, you look at physiology, you look at keeping the cats healthy, you look at the disease management, and you look at diet. And one of the factors early on in getting the cheetahs to breed here at the Wild Animal Park, where others had not been successful, is looking at the social dynamics and looking at the behavior and allowing the female to choose her mate and when she was ready to mate instead of us deciding that for her. That seems insignificant in the greater picture of things, but it's quite significant if you're a cheetah. So despite everything that we know about animals, we think we're so smart, they have their own ideas about how life should be, don't they? All right, Majani, what we might do is we'll continue on with our program, and maybe you could bring Majani up one more time later when the cake starts to melt a little and is maybe a little more enticing.
Feed that they get. Oh, no, the rescue dog, and they're paired up together. And the dog has to find the grass. Oh, there you go.
They're made. The cubs, it goes from the top of their head all the way back. In fact, I'll tell you, we had one named Kramer. Remember the character Kramer? Do you want me to take the sign off so you can see it, or no?
No, no.
What do you think?
I think it's good with the sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, but his face is now behind.
Right. Yes. You just have to be careful that your finger doesn't go in when you decide to put it.
Okay, everybody's looking here.
I should put meat on it. I said, didn't you see? I put meat on there. Joan was tapping it and everything.
I know. She was sticking it right out there.
Quickly.
You must be pretty good. You got all 10 fingers.
So they really have the mane. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, that's. How old is that? He's going to be 11. 11.
That's the photo. That's the photo.
That's right.
Hi. See this? It's amazing.
Good.
Beautiful. Nice photos.
Yeah.
You happy?
I don't think so.
Is it bouncing back at you? You want to move it? You can move it wherever you want.
I want to thank you all for being here today, and I want you to have a good time for the rest of the day. So thank you very much.
Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our program to, more than likely, an even more tediously boring, uninteresting part of the show. We sincerely apologize to any remaining listeners. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Annjanae Gonzales with the Talk of San Diego, and we are here speaking with Doug Myers, the CEO of the San Diego Zoo. Hello, Doug.
Good morning.
Hi, and I noticed there is a new Sumatran tiger exhibit going to be opening within the next couple of years, right? How long did the planning process for this project take?
Well, we actually started planning it in 2008, and since then we've been fundraising for it. And of course, today we received a significant gift.
Right. That's a very true blessing. And you had to accumulate $2 million by the end of this year to get...
It's what we call a matching gift. The donor will give us $9 million if we can raise an additional $2 million by the end of the year.
Oh, that's great. And now these tigers that you're going to be keeping, would they ever be able to return to their natural habitat?
You know, that's not the plan for our group of tigers. What we hope to do is build the number of tigers in captivity up so that ultimately we can have a reintroduction program.
Okay, and these animals, the tigers, they are endangered species at this time, or?
They are. All tigers are endangered.
Okay.
There's 5 different species of tigers.
And you would be breeding them as well?
Yes. In fact, very soon we'll be putting 2 new cubs on display.
Okay, Doug, thank you for your time. And I am Annjanae Gonzales with the Talk of San Diego, and we will be right back.
Recent studies indicate that one episode of the Talk of San Diego is like receiving 10 full body X-rays in 1 week. If you happen to notice you can still see things in your room after you have turned out the light, call your doctor right away.
talk about fun. So we had a great time listening to Joan Embery's presentation about the new exhibit. We also had a great time going on the tram and viewing different endangered species. So if you'd like to have a good time, come on down to the San Diego Zoo. Again, my name is Annjanae Gonzales, and we will see you next time on the Talk of San Diego. This is Annjanae Gonzales with the Talk of San Diego. We are here at the Safari Zoo, and today they are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the zoo's And the Sumatran tigers, where would they be coming from?
Actually, out of Sumatra.
Wow, talk about fun! So we had a great time listening to Joan Embery's presentation, as well as taking the trolley and viewing different endangered species. Again, my name is Annjanae Gonzales, and this is, oh shit, okay, I forgot one line.